I feel like black men are met with a lot more openness racially compared to black women. So here is my observation so far. Every time I went to like somewhere where there's a black man and women, I noticed that on the men's side, the other races kind of bond with the men based off of the fact that they are both men, and then the women.
Shout out to men. Shout out to men. Like we bond over knowing that yeah we're men. The world kind of treats us the same way. Doesn't really matter where you are, right? Doesn't really matter where you are. You're a man. Hey, yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, we understand that. Hey, you like this? I like. Yeah, cool. That's one advantage of being men. We all kind of treated under the same way under the sun. So it's easy for us to get together and bond. In terms of it being like us being more welcomed by other races, I think we're seeing that, right? And I think that's an interesting conversation tying into sort of the passport, not boys or bros, but just a passport situation when black women reported going overseas or going to other places, it's not as simple, it's not as easy, it's not as welcoming. It's obviously because there's a stereotype that follows the black community, and then there's a stereotype that follows black women specifically. For the longest time, us as men being deadbeats, has been a thing that is slowly becoming debunked. Inversely, the idea of the aggressive, the angry black woman is sort of proliferating our culture, proliferating, society as a whole, the world. We're not doing a good job of protecting our image, specifically, the black female image. And with that, what we see a lot of when it's perpetuated online, we see the worst of us being pictured there and shown. And what happens, people, we're all interconnected, so they see the worst of our behavior and they see that and they internalize it and say, okay, now I have this expectation that you're going to be exactly like this when I do come across you. So when you take that girls trip and you go somewhere, not Carnival Cruise, where that's dead, right? When you go overseas to these other nations and they already have this preconceived notion of you, maybe they have their own contingent of black women who may adhere to the same principles or ideas, or have the same struggles. So it's not as welcoming, it's not as easy. Then we could kind of flip it sometimes to you women. You let's be fair. Let's be fair. Compete with each other, but not in the same way as men will compete with each other. If I come across another guy and he's taller than me, I will often tell him I'm uncomfortable with him. I want to punch him in the stomach so he bends over. Right? We laugh about it. It was just joking. Right? Hey, you're tall. Right? There's a guy that lives in my building, and sometimes I see in the gym, and he's tall, Caucasian brother. Right? Great hair. I look at him. We're both using the squat rack on the separate sides, and we're like, yeah, we have a limited amount of weights that we can use. So sometimes he sees me in there, he'll do something else. If I see him in there, I'll do something else. And when he's done with that, all right, yeah, I want to bench. I'm going to bench 315, and that's what the weights go up to. So one day, I'm sorry for the impromptu story time. One day I saw him in the elevator, dressed in scrubs. I said, "You a doctor too?" I said, "I hate you so much." We laugh about it, right? That sometimes the men just get along. Women sometimes, yeah, you can congratulate each other. You often do, but there's also an underlying cut of competition there. I think that's another conversation that needs to be had, but that's for another video, and that's probably for more of a panel of women on here to talk about something like that. I don't want to presume to talk for you.
Men are kind of like the other races, of course. Other races of women are kind of like, oh, look, a black man, a tall black guy.
Yeah,
Ooh.
cool.
And then the women's side, it's more of like whoever is brave enough to like talk to a black girl. But you see, you guys are not ready for that conversation, right?
Hey, we all are each responsible for our image and how we are perceived. It's unfortunate that no individual can sort of fix the thing as a whole, but maybe that's the next part of the conversation: how to repair the image, how to change what we're being put forward. Back in the day, in the prompter story time. So let's go to the big screen, and it's real quick. the Asian community stopped participating in Asian movies or in movies where Asians was depicted poorly with buck tooth, with gibbering, jammering. Like they stopped as a whole participating in those roles. So to the point where white actors had to put on the proper makeup, the teeth to impersonate these roles. They couldn't get the Asian community to step forward and do it. We don't do that. We do the same things in the community, like say selling drugs to the community. Well, someone else is going to do it, so it might as well be me. I might as well get paid. So you contribute to that poor image. We need to take a page out of some of these other books and say some conversations are for the cookout. Some arguments are for the cookout. Like the video with Myron Gaines, with the guy trying to attack Myron Gaines. No, that's a conversation we're going to have offline without the cameras. The whole thing with Will Smith, that's a conversation we have offline without the cameras. Let's sort out our bad blood internally with each other, not for the world to be displayed. But to the point, to land the plane, yes, I think black men are more welcomed amongst other races. We're often desired amongst other races. That's a conversation that we may not be ready to have. And I think it's also why when you see a black man with a white woman, black women often, don't like that and have something to say about it. The other way around, we're like, okay, good for you. Like I wish you the best. Dating is so difficult. Getting, getting with someone is so difficult. Wish you the best success. Go where you love. Go where you not where you tolerate it. If you succeed, you can find success there. More power to you. On either side, you know, just don't sort of vilify the race you leave behind. Okay? We're all trying to make it. So let's give each other some grace. But yeah, I think black men are definitely more welcomed across the world in other cultures. Let me know what you think in the comments.